So when we talk about tones, and we have already discussed about three tones. What are the three tones? We have light tone, middle tone, and dark tone. So in symbol, we usually call it L, M, or D. So we have been able to explore these three tones when we are doing the box, and also when we're doing the egg. But the other thing is that when we're doing the egg, we extended it beyond three. So but in this case now, we want to look at the 9 tones. Remember when we do the box, we spoke mainly about 3 tones, which is light, middle, and dark. So in this case now, we want to look at 9. There are so many ways we can separate the tones or use the tones into 9 tones when we are shading or drawing. So but in this case now, we want to use an horizontal table. So let's say we are dividing the table into 3 parts for light, then 3 parts for middle tone, then 3 parts for dark tone. You say so 1, 2, 3, stop here. 1, 2, 3, stop here. 1, 2, 3, stop here. So it gets darker and it gets lighter. And you know when we're talking about tone, we're talking about the intensity of light on an object. So the lighter the object, the more we avoid shading it. The darker the object, the more we shade it. Except we're working on a dark surface, then we can start shading and also tinting at the same time. But in this case now, let's say this is the lightest tone. So the lightest tone, we leave it light. So the next one to it, we shade it just once. The next one to it, we shade it once, like the first one. Then we add another shade again, making twice. Then the one that is next to it, we shade it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. But mind you, the more you impress your pen or your pencil onto the paper, the darker it will become, because this is bold pencil, and in fact this one is straight B, so which means it can go as dark as possible. So we've done 3 there. So now we're going to do 4 here. This is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. You might think they are the same thing, but because the numbers are not the same and the strength at which I'm applying the pencil is the same thing, so it will come out in the same form. So but it's darker than, they keep getting darker. So we did 4 here. So the next one, we're going to do 5. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5. Keep getting darker, and this is going to be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the next one will be 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Already, before it gets to 8 now, you can see that it's already much dark. It's already darker than this. So there's possibility that because this is, my hands is not computerized and my mind is not also computerized, so my hand must have systematically added more strength at a point in time. So this is 8 now. But what you're looking for is that there should be a little differences when you are applying the shade. So when you're going towards the light, you should be getting lighter gradually, and when it's going towards the dark, you should be getting darker gradually. So here now we're going to apply it 9 times. though we know what happened in the last one. So we continue. Already we've gotten to the third one of the dark. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So the next one to each will be darker than all the rest. So here now, we've applied like 3 times, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You see now it gets darker. So if you want to keep going dark, you can still break it and move to the next dark, and until you reach the darkest tone. So from here now you can see that there is a progression. There is a progression from light into dark. And if you try to look at it from dark into light, there's also a progression. So that is what we're looking at. So the last one here could be the darkest. And if you look at this pencil now, you know that this is the darkest. I'm pressing my hand to the last strength of applying the pencil to the paper. So you can see now how it moves from lightest into the darkest. So this is one way to do that. And here I'm using hashing to do my technique of shading. In some other cases you can use other type of shading, but this seems to be the simplest and the fastest in my own way of expressing my art. Some other works that you do like this, like if you're about to do this now and you want to make it another type of shading technique, you just start from the dark to the light. So what you do is, rather than breaking it into pieces, because those lines can still be visible at the end, you just memorize where those lines are, and you just gradually tint and shade from the darkest to the lightest. So already you put all these principles in mind, knowing that the first one is not so dark, and knowing that the next one will be darker, and you keep going darker and darker and darker till you get to the darkest. So if you see now, I'm applying a general tone of a light middle tone from the lightest into the darkest. So the only thing I'll be doing now is I'll be increasing it gradually. I'll be increasing it gradually because I want to try to avoid that mark there, like this breaking tones. So in aim to remove that, I'll be shading it into dark. So I'll be going into darker tones as I keep shading. This is very much applicable when you're doing an object that is very much blended. So as you can see now, I'm taking it into more dark. So areas that I want it to be darker, I'll continue to increase the intensity of the pencil. So I'm adding more strength now. I'm adding more strength, and it's getting darker and darker. Let me say this is where I want to stop my darkest tone now. I can stop it here and continue to increase the darkest and come back and blend in the lighter area until I have a smooth transition between the dark and the light. So can you feel it? Okay, fine. So that's that now. So let's now explain these 9 tones before we transit into tones beyond 9. So you have now seen that it is not just 3 tones that we have in shading. We have tones that are beyond that. You can go as far as your eye can take. So the very first one we have is the light tone. So the light tone we have 1, 2, 3. And in the middle tone we have 1, 2, and 3. And the dark tone we also have 1, 2, 3. So the light tone, we can say this is the lightest of the light tone. So sometimes we call it light LL or lightest light. Then the next one should be like middle light, middle light. Then the next one should be like dark light. So they are still light, but it's just that they are not the same tone. Then here you have the middle tones, but the light of the middle. So you have light middle, then you have middle, then you have dark middle. Then for the dark, you have light dark, then you have middle dark, then you have darkest of the dark, darkest dark of the tones. So those are the 9 tones that we talked about. But as you can see from this shading, you can extend it beyond that. So guys, if you like this video and you're learning something from this tutorial, you can subscribe to our channel and continue to enjoy more of our videos and our lessons.